When I started reading Epic Collections, I discovered a lot of characters I really didn't know much as a kid. You can only read so much when you got that allowance, right? But I think none of them really stuck with me like the Silver Surfer. I absolutely love this line, and it's just been fun all the way through. And this is another great example. This is Parable, the new Epic Collection out right now, Volume 4. Covers 1988 to 1989. Silver Surfer 15 through 23, Annual 1 and 2. Crossover with Fantastic Four 325. Got a Marvel graphic novel, Silver Surfer, and Silver Surfer, it's labeled 1 and 2. That's the Parable by Mobius right there, and some Marvel Comics Presents stuff. All right, so this starts out with Steve Englehart's run on Silver Surfer, and we get a crossover with the Evolutionary War to open things up. It's a mild crossover. You can read this by itself, but it looks like they're getting close to collecting all of the Evolutionary War stuff in these Epic Collections. This one is Super Skrull returns, and Silver Surfer has to kind of deal with him. We learn that there's like a Kree-Skrull war rebrewing, kind of. You get a backup story with Nova, who's like this female Nova now. And then Mantis, who's in the prior volume of this, was hooking up with Silver Surfer. She's been reborn. She's going to be hanging out with the Avengers now. Some backup stuff, pretty good. Nice little pinups of all these characters. And then you get a High Evolutionary backup story, which ties into that whole Evolutionary War. Then we get into the actual run itself, and pretty interesting stuff. Standard 80s Marvel House style fare. On here, the Fantastic Four help the Silver Surfer. Galactus is dying, which, you know, that happens a few times over the course of Marvel history. But in this one, it's kind of an interesting concept, and they actually go try to hunt this this sort of other world to try to find an answer to this. And they find out there's like these whole counterparts of, I guess, what do you want to call it? Immortal beings in another world who are kind of like controlling things, and they're soul gems. This is very early, maybe Infinity Gem sort of conceptual stuff. But Ron Lim does a lot of the art, and this Ron Lim is a very underrated just Marvel artist who worked on a lot of stuff in the early 90s, late 80s. And here you are, we have this in-betweener of order and chaos, just threatening the universe at this point. A lot of fun. Really great stuff. Tons of dynamic action. They beat up the in-betweener. The in-betweener actually goes against Galactus. And as Galactus revives, and they have to deal with that. Yes, the in-betweener must die. Look at just how epic things were back in the 80s. They really did a great job of this without, like, I feel like the multiverse stuff from now really goes overboard. This doesn't. This is just like lots of fun in space. A little bit of Franklin Richards going on in the middle of that too. And then after this, Fire Lord decides to go kill Silver Surfer because of stuff, and we got a background plot with these pirates, Nebula, which continued from the last deal. We get Eros, and he's manipulating the Fire Lord, and Silver Surfer kind of gets a little cucked here when Fire Lord makes out with the new Nova girl. Really funny. Silver Surfer's sad by that. Kind of goes off on his own yet again as this Kree-Skrull sort of situation keeps developing in the background. Very nice stuff. This is Marvel Comics Presents. You just get a quick Silver Surfer sort of tale, like dealing with like some sort of creature that attaches to him. This is a fill-in issue. Marshall Rogers, Michael Higgins just randomly do this fill-in issue. Where there's like a, bounty hunter after Silver Surfer. I don't really like the art in this. This is, I'm not a huge fan. But it's a fill-in issue. Now suddenly we're back. Back to our Ron Lim and Steve Englehart goodness, which just prevails. In this one, he actually has to go into Ego and fight with Ego, the living planet, which he's done before. But again, just like really beautiful art. Look sort of the space concepts by Ron Lim. I absolutely love it. Fantastic Four crossover here. This is where he finally connects back with Mantis again. There's this whole like Kang situation going on in the Fantastic Four. And we're back. So after Ego, he has to fight this other creature on a planet. Look at this creature. What a cool design. Turns out that creature is not actually the problem. The ugly creature was all right, and the nice people were actually bad. Then we get our Atlantis Attacks crossover. He comes back to Earth, of course, once again, and discovers all these issues there. This begins Atlantis Attacks, so it's like the very beginning of that crossover. We get a bunch of background stuff also for this annual issue. And then there's Mephisto, who we're going to find out a little bit more in just a second in this graphic novel. This is really cool. So this is John Buscema with Max Scheele on colors. And I say that because the colors really stand out here as something really unique. This is cool. Each page in this graphic novel is a full spread. And that's kind of the concept of this. So early done for that. A lot of that stuff didn't happen. But there's a battle for Silver Surfer's soul in here. This is beautiful stuff. Stan Lee does the dialoguing. It really brings it back to day one Silver Surfer. This is just a look at this. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Beautiful art. 10 out of 10 right there. But yeah, this by itself would have been just worth the volume because I would have liked to just read this. The Englehart stuff was really good too. Absolutely stunning. Wow. Really phenomenal work through this whole graphic novel. There's my proxy bookmark. And Galactus and Mephisto kind of have at it, which is always fun, which is a fun little deal. And of course, eventually Silver Surfer escapes and flies off. Then we get into Mobius Parable, and I've read this before. I've got the Treasury edition of this with like giant-sized art, and basically Galactus comes back to Earth, even though he's promised never to do this again. It's kind of like halfway in continuity. He like just stands there and lets Earth like kind of start to worship his. Look at the Mobius art. Look at the detail in that. The French artists are really incredible. People start to worship him, and then it gets crazy. And then the Earth goes kind of mad. And Silver Surfer has to stop that whole like cult and stop Galactus at the same time. And he's willing to fight to the death. And it really shows what it is to go against the grain. And yeah, this is a big story about like how mobs just do stupid stuff, and like worshiping idols is really not the wisest course of action. And by the end of it, his Silver Surfer, they try to worship Silver Surfer, and he's like, did you learn nothing out of this? And it's really a beautiful story all the way around. And he eventually rides off into the sunset as always. And that's it. Cool. You get some beautiful extras, some Marvel Age, little backup interviews and things like that. Here's some making of Parable. Good stuff. This is a great epic collection, guys. I mean, the annual crossovers are all right. I'd say there's a couple fill-in issues that were like meh. But overall, really fun. Those two backup graphic novels are so good. So I got to call this like a 9 out of 10 epic collection in terms of just like some of the must-have stuff. Absolutely good. All right. Leave a comment down below with what you think. Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.